Every great transformation begins with a single decision. A quiet moment when you stop waiting for life to change and decide to change yourself. That moment doesn't arrive with applause. It doesn't announce itself with perfect timing or perfect circumstances. It comes in silence, often disguised as disappointment, failure, or the feeling that you were created for something greater than the life you're currently living. The truth is, the person you are today is not the final chapter of your story. You are still being written. You are still becoming. So many people spend their lives chasing someone else's definition of success. They wear masks to earn acceptance, silence their dreams to avoid criticism, and settle for comfort because growth demands courage. But your purpose has never been to fit into someone else's expectations. Your purpose is to discover the extraordinary strength, wisdom, and character already waiting inside you. The greatest masterpiece you will ever create is not a business, a career, or a reputation. It is the person you choose to become. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that your confidence no longer depends on praise. Your peace no longer depends on circumstances, and your future is no longer controlled by fear. Imagine becoming someone who keeps promises to themselves, who rises after every fall, who chooses discipline over excuses and purpose over comfort. That version of you already exists. It is waiting for your commitment, your courage, and your willingness to grow. Today is not about becoming someone else. It is about uncovering the strongest, wisest, kindest, and most courageous version of the person you have always had the potential to be. Because when you become the best version of yourself, you don't just change your own life. You inspire everyone around you to believe that transformation is possible. And that journey begins with one choice, one step, and one unwavering decision to never settle for less than the person you were created to become. Many people spend their entire lives measuring themselves against others. They compare their success, appearance, income, intelligence, relationships, and achievements, believing that someone else's progress somehow defines their own value. But comparison is one of the quickest ways to lose confidence, because there will always be someone who seems to have more, move faster, or achieve greater recognition. If your happiness depends on being ahead of everyone else, you will never truly experience peace. The only comparison that leads to genuine growth is the one between who you were yesterday and who you are becoming today. Your real competition has never been the person sitting beside you, working in another office, studying in another classroom, or living in another city. Your greatest competition is the version of yourself that accepted excuses, feared failure, and settled for less than your potential. Think about how powerful even the smallest improvement can be. If yesterday you gave up after one rejection, today choose to try one more time. If yesterday you wasted hours on distractions, today spend just 30 extra minutes learning a new skill. If yesterday you doubted yourself before taking action, today take one confident step despite the doubt. These tiny victories may seem insignificant in the moment, but slowly transform your character. Greatness is rarely built through dramatic changes. It is built through ordinary decisions repeated consistently over time. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting overnight transformation. They see successful individuals standing on the mountaintop without noticing the thousands of steps it took to get there. Every successful person has a story filled with failures, uncertainty, and moments when quitting seemed easier than continuing. The difference is that they refuse to compare their beginning with someone else's middle. They understood that progress is personal. Your journey has its own pace, its own lessons, and its own purpose. When you stop racing against others, you gain the freedom to focus on becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable every single day. Your habits reveal who you are becoming. Every choice you make is casting a vote for your future self. When you read instead of scrolling endlessly, you become more knowledgeable. When you exercise instead of making excuses, you become healthier and more disciplined. When you forgive instead of holding on to anger, you become emotionally stronger. When you choose honesty instead of convenience, you become a person others can trust. These daily choices may not attract attention, but they quietly shape the person you will become months and years from now. There will be days when progress feels invisible. You may work hard without immediate results. You may wonder whether your efforts are making any difference. This is where most people give up because they mistake slow progress for failure. But growth often happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Just as a seed develops strong roots underground before breaking through the soil, your discipline, resilience, and wisdom are developing long before the world notices. Every challenge you overcome strengthens you in ways that cannot always be measured immediately. Another important truth is that your past does not define your future. Yesterday's mistakes are lessons, not life sentences. The person who failed before is not the person you have to remain. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to make better choices, develop better habits, and think better thoughts. Instead of carrying guilt about what you could not change, carry determination about what you can improve today. Every new day gives you another chance to become someone your past self would admire. Imagine meeting the version of yourself from 1 year ago. Would that person recognize your courage, your discipline, your confidence, and your growth? Would they be inspired by how far you have come, or would they see someone who remained trapped by the same fears and excuses? This question is far more meaningful than asking whether you are better than someone else. Real success is measured by personal progress, not public comparison. The strongest people are not those who defeat everyone around them, but those who continually defeat their own doubts, weaknesses, and limitations, choosing every single day to become just a little better than they were the day before. The journey toward becoming the best version of yourself begins with one habit that many people avoid because it demands honesty. It begins with looking inward. It is easy to notice the flaws in other people, to blame circumstances for our struggles, or to make excuses when life becomes difficult. It is much harder to stand in front of the mirror and ask yourself the questions that truly matter. Am I living according to my values? Am I using my abilities wisely? Am I allowing fear to make decisions for me? Honest self-reflection is not about criticizing yourself or feeling guilty about your imperfection. It is about seeing yourself clearly so you can grow intentionally. You cannot improve what you refuse to acknowledge, and you cannot change what you pretend does not exist. Every person has strengths that deserve to be developed. Perhaps you are naturally kind, creative, determined, or curious. These qualities are gifts, but gifts only become valuable when they are used consistently. Many people underestimate their strengths because they have become so familiar with them that they no longer recognize their value. At the same time, everyone also has weaknesses. Some struggle with procrastination, others with impatience, fear, anger, insecurity, or self-doubt. Ignoring these weaknesses does not make them disappear. In fact, what remains hidden often grows stronger. The courage to admit your weaknesses is not a sign of failure. It is one of the greatest signs of maturity because it opens the door to real improvement. Growth requires the willingness to challenge your own thinking. Sometimes the beliefs that hold us back were formed years ago through disappointment, criticism, or failure. You may have convinced yourself that you are not smart enough, talented enough, or capable enough because of something that happened in your past. But thoughts are not always facts. Many of the limits we accept exist only because we have repeated them so often that they feel true. Self-reflection gives you the opportunity to question those beliefs. Instead of asking, "Why can't I do this?" begin asking, "What can I learn to become capable of doing this?" That small shift changes your focus from limitation to possibility. Honest reflection also teaches accountability. It reminds you that while you cannot control everything that happens in life, you can control how you respond. There will always be unexpected setbacks, unfair situations, and people who disappoint you. Blaming them may provide temporary comfort, but it will never create lasting growth. The moment you accept responsibility for your attitude, your actions, and your choices, you reclaim your power. Personal responsibility is not about carrying unnecessary guilt. It is about recognizing that your future is influenced more by your decisions than by your circumstances. One of the most effective ways to grow is to regularly evaluate your progress. At the end of each day, ask yourself simple but meaningful questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What lesson did I learn? What can I improve tomorrow? These questions transform every experience into an opportunity for growth. Success is not built by avoiding mistakes, but by learning from them. Every failure contains valuable information if you are willing to study it instead of allowing it to define you. It is also important to celebrate progress, no matter how small it may seem. Many people become discouraged because they focus only on how far they still have to go. They forget to appreciate how much they have already overcome. Reflection is not only about identifying weaknesses, it is also about recognizing victories that build confidence. Every habit you improve, every fear you confront, every challenge you survive, and every act of discipline you practice becomes evidence that you are changing. Confidence grows when you acknowledge your progress instead of constantly chasing perfection. Becoming the best version of yourself is not about creating a flawless life. Perfection is an impossible destination that leaves people exhausted and disappointed. Growth, however, is always available. Every day offers another opportunity to think more wisely, speak more kindly, work more diligently, and live more intentionally. Honest self-reflection keeps you aligned with the person you truly want to become, helping you replace excuses with responsibility, fear with courage, and comfort with continuous improvement until your actions begin to reflect the character you have always hoped to build. The person you dream of becoming is not created by occasional moments of motivation. That person is created by discipline. Motivation is powerful, but it is temporary. It rises when you hear an inspiring speech, read a meaningful book, or experience a moment of excitement. Then life becomes difficult, energy fades, distractions appear, and motivation quietly disappears. Discipline, however, remains. It is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you do not feel like doing it. It is choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It is showing up consistently, especially on the days when giving up feels easier than continuing. The difference between people who simply have dreams and those who turn dreams into reality is often not talent or luck. It is discipline. Every meaningful achievement is built on a foundation of small, repeated actions. A healthy body is not created by exercising once. A successful career is not built by working hard for a single day. Strong relationships are not formed through one-kind conversation. Excellence is the result of consistent effort over time. Every morning you choose to wake up with purpose. Every hour you spend learning instead of wasting time. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens the habits that shape your future. These choices may seem ordinary, but ordinary actions repeated consistently create extraordinary results. One of the greatest misconceptions about discipline is that it limits freedom. In reality, discipline creates freedom. When you manage your time wisely, you gain more opportunities. When you control your spending, you gain financial stability. When you care for your health, you gain energy and strength. When you control your emotions, instead of allowing them to control you, you gain peace of mind. Discipline removes the chaos that comes from impulsive decisions and replaces it with confidence because you know your actions are moving you toward the life you truly want. Excuses are the greatest enemy of discipline. The mind is incredibly creative when it wants to avoid discomfort. It says, "I'll start tomorrow. I'm too tired today. I don't have enough time," or "I'll wait until everything is perfect." But tomorrow often becomes next week, next month, or even next year. The truth is that perfect conditions rarely exist. Those who achieve greatness do not wait for ideal circumstances. They begin with what they have, where they are, and they improve along the way. Progress belongs to those who act despite inconvenience, not to those who endlessly prepare without taking action. Discipline also means learning to delay gratification. In a world where people expect instant results, patience has become a rare strength. We want success immediately, recognition quickly, and rewards without the process, but lasting success follows a different path. A farmer does not plant seeds in the morning and expect a harvest by evening. Growth takes time. Every effort you make today is like planting seeds for the future. Some rewards may come quickly, while others require months or years of consistent dedication. Trusting the process is part of being disciplined because you understand that meaningful achievements cannot be rushed. There will be days when discipline feels difficult, You will experience failure, criticism, disappointment, and moments of self-doubt. On those days, your emotions may tell you to stop trying, but discipline reminds you why you started in the first place. It teaches you that feelings change, but commitment remains. A disciplined person does not allow temporary emotions to make permanent decisions. Instead, they continue taking one step forward, believing that every challenge is preparing them for greater responsibility and greater success. The most important promise you can make is the promise you make to yourself. Every time you say you will study, exercise, practice, save money, learn a new skill, or improve your character, you are making a commitment. Keeping that commitment strengthens self-respect. Breaking it repeatedly weakens confidence because your mind begins to doubt your own words. Discipline builds trust between who you are today and who you want to become. It transforms intentions into actions, actions into habits, and habits into character until the life you once imagined becomes the life you are living through consistency, perseverance, and unwavering commitment to your highest potential. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions a human being can experience. It has the ability to make your heart race, your mind overthink, and your confidence disappear within seconds. It whispers that you are not ready, not capable, and not strong enough to face what lies ahead. It convinces you that staying where you are is safer than stepping into the unknown. But fear is not always an enemy. In many ways, fear is simply a signal. It tells you that you are standing at the edge of growth, about to leave the familiar behind and enter a place where you have the opportunity to become stronger. The mistake most people make is believing that fear means they should stop. In reality, fear often means you are moving towards something that matters. Every successful person has experienced fear. The difference is not that they were fearless. The difference is that they refused to let fear make their decisions. Courage has never meant the absence of fear. Courage means taking the next step even while your hands are shaking and your mind is filled with uncertainty. It means speaking when your voice trembles, trying when failure is possible, and believing in yourself even when there is no guarantee of success. Fear may walk beside you, but it does not have to lead you. One of the greatest sources of fear is the fear of failure. Many people never begin because they are worried about making mistakes. They imagine embarrassment, criticism, or disappointment before they have even taken the first step. But failure is not proof that you are incapable. It is proof that you had the courage to try. Every mistake teaches a lesson that success alone could never provide. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall countless times before they finally take steady steps. No one expects perfection from a child because everyone understands that falling is part of learning. Yet as adults, we often expect ourselves to succeed immediately, forgetting that growth still follows the same principle. Every setback is simply another lesson, preparing you for future success. Another fear that holds many people back is the fear of what others might think. We worry about criticism, judgment, and rejection, so much that we silence our own dreams. We begin living according to other people's opinions instead of our own values. But the truth is that no matter what you do, someone will always have something to say. If you allow every opinion to control your choices, you will spend your life chasing approval instead of purpose. The people who make the greatest impact are often those who choose authenticity over acceptance. They understand that temporary criticism is a small price to pay for a meaningful life. Fear also appears whenever change enters your life. A new job, a new responsibility, a new challenge, or a new opportunity can all feel overwhelming because they force you to leave your comfort zone. Comfort may feel safe, but it rarely produces growth. The strongest trees grow by surviving storms, not by remaining sheltered forever. Likewise, your character becomes stronger every time you face uncertainty with determination instead of avoidance. The situations that challenge you today are often preparing you for responsibilities you cannot yet imagine. Building courage is not about making one heroic decision. It is about making many small decisions every day. It is choosing to ask the question you were afraid to ask, applying for the opportunity you thought was beyond your reach, speaking honestly when silence would be easier, forgiving when anger feels justified, and continuing after disappointment instead of giving up. Each small act of courage sends a message to your mind that fear no longer controls your life. Over time, these moments reshape your confidence because confidence is not born from comfort. It is built through repeated action despite uncertainty. There will always be reasons to hesitate, reasons to doubt yourself, and reasons to believe that the timing is not right. But if you wait until fear disappears completely, you may spend your entire life waiting. The people who become the best version of themselves understand that fear is not a stop sign placed in their path to block their future. It is a reminder that they are standing at the entrance to something greater, something that demands faith, resilience, determination, and the willingness to move forward one courageous step at a time, despite every uncertainty that stands before them. Living with purpose is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Without purpose, life often feels like an endless cycle of routines, responsibilities, and distractions. You wake up, complete tasks, solve problems, and go to sleep, only to repeat the same pattern the next day. But when you discover a purpose greater than temporary success or personal comfort, every action begins to carry meaning. Purpose gives direction to your energy, clarity to your decisions, and strength during difficult times. It reminds you that your life is not measured only by what you achieve for yourself, but also by the difference you make in the lives of others. Becoming the best version of yourself is not about proving your worth to the world. It is about becoming someone whose presence leaves every place, every conversation, and every relationship a little better than it was before. Many people confuse success with significance. Success is often measured by titles, wealth, awards, or recognition. Significance, however, is measured by impact. Long after people forget what you owned or what position you held, they will remember how you treated them, how you inspired them, and how you made them feel. A person with purpose understands that true greatness is not found in collecting achievements, but in creating value. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every lesson shared, and every opportunity given to someone else becomes part of a legacy that continues long after you are gone. Purpose also changes the way you face challenges. When your goals are built only on comfort or personal gain, obstacles often feel like reasons to quit. But when your life is connected to a meaningful purpose, difficulties become part of the journey rather than the end of it. You begin to see setbacks as preparation instead of punishment. Every disappointment teaches resilience. Every failure develops wisdom. Every hardship strengthens your character. Purpose gives you the strength to keep moving forward because you understand that your mission is greater than your temporary pain. Living with purpose requires intentional choices every single day. It means asking yourself whether your actions reflect the values you claim to believe in. It means choosing integrity when dishonesty seems easier, choosing compassion when bitterness feels justified, and choosing service when selfishness appears more rewarding. Character is revealed not in extraordinary moments, but in ordinary decisions made consistently over time. The habits you practice every day quietly shape the legacy you will leave behind. One of the most inspiring truths about purpose is that it does not require fame or extraordinary circumstances. You do not have to become a celebrity, lead a large organization, or change the entire world to live a meaningful life. Sometimes purpose is found in being a loving parent, an honest employee, a faithful friend, an encouraging teacher, or a person who consistently chooses kindness even when no one is watching. Small acts performed with sincerity often create ripples that reach farther than we could ever imagine. A single encouraging conversation can change someone's direction. One act of generosity can restore another person's hope. One example of courage can inspire countless others to believe in themselves. As you become the best version of yourself, you naturally become a source of light for others. People notice your consistency, your humility, your resilience, and your willingness to grow. You may never fully realize how many lives you influence simply by living with integrity. Children learn by watching your example. Friends find strength in your determination. Colleagues are inspired by your work ethic. Family members gain hope through your perseverance. Leadership is not always about standing in front of a crowd. Often, it is about quietly demonstrating the values that encourage others to become better themselves. At the end of life, the most meaningful question will not be how much money you earned, how many possessions you collected, or how many people admired your success. The question will be whether you lived according to your values, used your gifts with courage, and left the world better than you found it. Every day offers another opportunity to write that story through your choices, your character, your compassion, and your commitment to living a life filled with purpose, meaning, generosity, and a legacy that continues to inspire long after your footsteps have faded from the path you once walked